what is up? I am Johnny B. Crazy and welcome to The House of the Conqueror. The new Norwegian Netflix original show is refreshing and yet familiar. A modern take on the Norse stories of old. I love everything from the story to the way it's shot, the actors, and the scenery. So I've decided to cover it and do episodic breakdowns. As we go through these breakdowns, we will delve into the real mythology of the Norse religion. I will be using Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology as a guide, and we will try to find out how many horses Loki has sex with. If you haven't seen this show yet, do so now because spoilers for episode 1 are coming. This is how we know that the end times are upon us. It will be far from the age of the gods, in the time of men. It will happen when all the gods sleep, every god but all-seeing Heimdall. As our story begins, an eagle soars overhead as Magne moves back to Edda, Norway, a fictional town that is named after the two most famous pieces of Nordic literature. Now, we must remember as we look at this bird, this could be one of Odin's birds, thought and memory, even though they are ravens. They could change it up for this story, but also, Freya has a feathered cloak that can turn you into a falcon. So let's just keep that in mind, see if we can figure it out. Magne has returned with his mother, who has gotten a job at Util Industries, and his mischievous brother, Lourdes, who I think has to be Loki. Loki is very handsome. He is plausible, convincing, likable, and far and away the most wily, subtle, and shrewd of all the inhabitants of Asgard. It is a pity then that there is so much darkness inside him. So much anger, so much envy, so much lust. Remember that quote as you watch the series, and we will get more into Lourdes in episode 2. Magne is close to Magne, who was one of Thor's sons. As we compare Magne to Thor, we may need to think about him possibly being Thor's son as well. Let's just keep that in the back of our minds. More than likely, he is just Thor. Edda is the last resting place for the Norse gods, the last to be conquered by Christianity in the first Ragnarok. Could the Aesir and Vanir have gone into slumber to wait for the next Ragnarok here? I think so, and most of everything we know about the Norse religion came from the two Edda, the prose Edda and the poetic Edda, and not much of this mysterious religion survived history. Odin is the name of the gorgeous town that this was shot in, and I for sure want to visit here one day. Magne and his family had left Edda when he was a boy, after his father prematurely died at the young age of 32. As they are coming into town, an old man rides into the middle of the road on his scooter, then it malfunctions. Magne gets out, and it's Magne's nature to help people, and it seems he's always been this way. Now, is this old man with an eye patch Odin? Odin knows many secrets. He gave an eye for wisdom. Odin has many names. He is the All-Father, the Lord of the Slain, the Gallows God. He travels from place to place in disguise to see the world as people see it. Not to mention that Wotan is another name for Odin. He says something cryptic to Magne. It's good that you have come. So of course he knows Magne somehow. Wench, a seer or possible Norn, a weaver of fate, walks up and touches Magne's forehead, unlocking a dormant power inside. Heimdall will blow the Gjallarhorn, the horn that was once Mimir's, and he will blow it with all his strength. Asgard shakes with its noise, and it is then that the sleeping gods will wake, and they will reach for their weapons and assemble beneath Yggdrasil at Urd's well to receive the blessing and counsel of the Norns. There's a strong possibility in my mind that Wench is Urd, and as I get through more of these episodes, I think you will see it too. I believe there are more unawakened gods here in Edda other than Magne. Only time will tell. As soon as he gets back in the car, Magne seems heavier as the car creaks under his weight. A storm proceeds to come from nowhere, as Magne predicted. When he tries to roll up the window, the handle snaps off. Thor, Odin's son, is the Thunderer. He is straightforward, where his father Odin is cunning, good-natured, where his father is devious. My Thor radar is going off. Ding, 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 ding. Getting settled into a new home, town, and school can be stressful for anyone, especially for Magne, who is dyslexic, not the best in social situations, and has a temper. He isn't really good at making friends, and Lourdes, his brother, is always japing and being mischievous, especially where Magne is concerned. Magne is not that great at school. He's fairly large, has a massive appetite, and is quick to anger. For this reason, his mom doesn't allow him to pick up tools such as hammers or play any type of physical sports. His mother plays very dumb throughout all this, but I think she knows who he is and is trying to control him. What does Turek have to gain from keeping Thor, son of Odin, from knowing who he is? We'll look into her a little bit more as it goes on. She gets very, very suspicious. We come to a point where his mother is fixing the fence at their house. He goes to grab the hammer and hand it back to his mother. When he picks it up, there is this mysterious rune on there, and if anyone out there knows what the rune is, let me know in the comments below. A strange sensation and flash overcomes him, like some sort of memory or he's feeling some type of force. Isolde is the first person he gets along with, and she's a typical hippie. She's a member of Greenpeace and fighting for the environment, with her own YouTube channel dedicated to making Yutl Industries and those like them responsible for their actions. She quickly informs Magne that something is wrong with the water and a dark shadow hangs over this town. The Yutls seem to be at the center of the controversy. There would be no more life in the oceans where the Midgard serpent rides. The Yutls own the factory that keeps the town alive and have a major influence over its people. Magne and his mother meet Vidar Yutl and his dog, more like the hound that guards the gates of hell. Garm, in my opinion. That's who I think this lovely little creature is. And they meet him at a gas station in town. Magne finds out his mother knew Vidar before they moved. She confirms she knew him well, and I don't even think she is even his mother. Her concern for him doesn't feel genuine to me. Also, she just got a job as an accountant at Yutl Industries. Who or what are the Yutls though? We know they all but run the town. They are the main source of jobs in Edda, and I'm sure they make many generous donations to law enforcement and others alike. Vidar's wife, Ran, is the principal at the high school, and their two kids, Saxa and Jord, are the most popular seniors in school. There's something too perfect about them. Later in the episode, we get a sneak peek of Vidar's beauty routine. At the Yutl's home, it's clear that Vidar is concerned about Magne after the meeting at the gas station. Vidar looks up the article from when Magne's father, Asbjorn, passed away. He more or less orders his children to keep an eye on the new boy, the fatso as he called him. Not to mention the awkward, let's urinate with my kids in the bathroom vibe. Magne has started to notice he doesn't need his glasses anymore. His strength has exponentially increased, and he isn't winded when exerting himself, even being able to fix Isolde's tire with his bare hands. They go to the grocery store together later and encounter the weird old crone, Wench. Wench says that Magne may be needed on the mountain and gives Isolde a warning. Isolde is going up to get water samples from the glacier to prove that Yutl Industries is polluting the town's water supply. There are three sisters, the Norns, who are wise maidens. They tend the well and make sure the roots of Yggdrasil are covered with mud and cared for. The well belongs to Erd. She is fate and destiny. He is thrilled Isolde asked him to come and finds out on his way up that Isolde considers him a friend. I think this is the first true friend Magne has ever had in his entire life. Lourdes messages Magne saying his mother's in trouble and that he needs to get home quick, that he needs help, causing him to leave Isolde on her journey alone and vulnerable. He races back home as fast as he can and arrives as his mom is fixing the curtains. She is safe and sound. Lourdes, who's a dickhead, played a little trick. He's a sly fox, that one, and is up to something. Loki makes the world more interesting, but less safe. He is the father of monsters, the author of woes, the sly god. Meanwhile, atop the mountain, we are finding there is something more to Vidar, and he proceeds to get naked and search for a female. Reindeer, that is. Apparently this keeps him looking young and vivacious. This will be the new rage in 2020, I'm sure of it. Is he a god? Is he a giant? We don't know for sure yet, but he is very powerful and savage. Given what we've seen in the first episode and the fact that the Battle of Ragnarok is, to put it simply, the battle against gods and giants, we can assume that the Jotuns are giants. Vidar seems to be making a sacrifice of sorts, which we will delve more into later when Vidar's true persona is revealed. At the same time Vidar is streaking the quad,
We're going streaking! Yes!
Isolde is retrieving her water sample from the glacier and finds a mysterious tunnel which she follows, finding a locked door that has the Jotun's name on it. Knowing his mother is fine and Lourdes was just making a weird joke, Magne heads back out. He's walking down the street when he sees a paraglider coming down the mountain and into town. It must be Isolde. A super tragic and impactful moment, and I was hooked after this ending. His only and what seems to be his very first real friend tragically passes. Was it an accident or was foul play involved? There's only time for grief at this moment. Magne, in mourning, unleashes his rage. Grabbing the hammer with the rune from earlier, Magne heaves it into the lightning storm, roars, and causes an electric surge throughout Edda. Thor's weapon is Mjolnir, a remarkable hammer, forged for him by dwarves. Its story you will learn. Trolls and frost giants and mountain giants all tremble when they see Mjolnir, for it has killed so many of their brothers and friends. In conclusion, this episode is the tragic start of a hero's journey for a young man who's just now figuring out who he really is, Thor. A classic coming-of-age tale that is mysterious and foreboding. Even the small details and nods to the legend, like Magne using a sled to extend his bed. In the Edda, Thor rides a sled pulled by two goats, Snarler and Grinder. I can't wait to sift through this show, and if there's more in the first episode I missed, we can come back to it. I highly recommend this show to anyone and can't wait to get into more details as the episodes go along. We will focus more on Loki and the giants in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Tell me some of your favorite myths, and please leave any comments, questions, or any cool facts below, and I will be sure to address them throughout these breakdowns. Be sure to support my crazy and hit that red button below. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you on the next visit to the House of the Conqueror.